Welcome, everyone. Lucas and I are happy to have this conversation with you about network-to-network collaboration. Lucas is the creator of the QiqoChat platform that we're using for the summit, and has been super generous in the work he's done to help that to be as smooth an experience as possible, to have the space be functional and beautiful. And Francois Nukel, who's also here with us, has done a lot of work in terms of helping to set the space up as well. He's quite familiar with QiqoChat. So we're gonna talk a little bit about QiqoChat in the beginning, maybe for 10 minutes or so. Lucas, you're gonna do a little demo, and we'll take some questions and feedback. We want to spend about maybe 20 minutes after that having a conversation about just this idea of network-to-network collaboration and how different tools and platforms could support that. And then we're hoping to maybe use the rest of our hour together to actually hatch some experiments we might try in network-to-network collaboration. So that's our plan, and I think I'm going to turn it over to you, Lucas.
Great. And before I begin, I'll let everyone unmute themselves and say hi. I'm Lucas Cioffi with QiqoChat, based in New York. And if anybody else would like to introduce themselves, you're welcome to do so at this time.
Good. I'm Grace, and I've been looking at alternative economic systems for network-to-network collaboration, so this interested me.
And I'm Kim. I'm in Northeast Ohio near Great Lake Erie, and I work at Case Western Reserve in the Department of Physics, but I'm involved in some different initiatives and networks, and met Ben through 6 conversations. Thank you.
And I'm Francois, based in the UK. Hi. Based in the UK, and I'm interested in hearing more about what the needs are in terms of online networks and communities and so on.
Super. So,
hi. I just can't get my video started for some reason. I'm trying everything. I think it's something in my settings I've turned off. My name is Siobhan Shaw. I'm the co-founder of Feed an Island and the Growing to Give organization. And we actually free people from hunger using innovative agricultural systems and practices. And I'm excited to learn about what is it Kiko?
Exactly.
QiqoChat is all about. We do regenerative farming and sustainable innovation. So I was guided here, and I'm looking forward to learning. And collaboration is a big thing for us. We do it all the time.
Welcome, Siobhan. Also, Grace, Kim, Francois. So this will be a conversational session here. I will show some things that QiqoChat can do. And Arlene, welcome. We're just getting started. Would you like to say hi?
Hi. My apologies for being late. Yeah, nice to see everyone here. Thank you.
Welcome, welcome. Okay, so we'll talk about Kiko for 5-10 minutes, and feel free to interrupt me at any point. Just talk over me because I may not see you. So just chime in with your question or put it in the chat, and let's see what we can do. We're talking about sharing information across networks. First, I'll start with a thank you to both Francois and Ben. So I've known each of them for at least 7 to 10 years, and I've been inspired by their work. So first, just a specific thanks to Ben. What you're seeing here at the summit that Ben has developed, it's just a really awesome display of connecting so many tools and sub-communities to form this moment where all these people are 12 years, Ben said, 12 years. So all these people that have come together for this moment to share and be present with each other. I've been participating in Ben's events and being inspired by his events. As the technology has changed, he has kept up with it, and he's always on the cutting edge of figuring out how can we make 1 + 1 = 7 by connecting multiple tools together. Yes. It used to be 1 + 1 = 3, but he's kept going. And then a specific thanks to Francois, who has shown up at more QiqoChat open office hours than anyone in the entire planet. And Francois has tremendous attention for detail, and he has tremendous patience as our platform has been growing. QiqoChat is a platform that I started building 10 years ago. I've been doing it full time since the pandemic. My wife is our CEO and I'm the CTO, and we have about 5 consultants that help us with various parts on and off, just to continue building it and improving it. So thank you to Francois and Ben, a deep, deep appreciation, and looking forward to continuing collaborating with them and anyone on this call or anyone that's going to be watching the recording. We're thinking about how we can help make your work better, and then also how we can improve the platform so that others can use it. So QiqoChat is an events platform, and it's a community platform. We try to help bridge both worlds, because once you have an event, especially a collaborative event like this one, people say, well, what's next? What can we do? Well, it doesn't make sense to try to bring everybody to a different platform. If they already have their user accounts and their profile set up, it's great because they're already around. Then they can start getting these additional notifications like a weekly newsletter. Maybe they can start contributing to that weekly newsletter by adding an idea. So we're starting off from a great intense event that lasts a day or a week or however long. Then how do we encourage people to stay connected? So we have an array of tools, starting from people just doing a little bit to much more in-depth collaboration. And we don't try to build all the tools, we try to integrate with all the tools. And whenever there's a tool gap, then we'll build a tool right in that spot that's just good enough. Our tools are never as beautiful as, say, Miro or Google, because they're billion-dollar companies, but our tools are practical and they're easy for people to use because they're already signed in and they connect to all these other tools in the ecosystem pretty well. So I will share my screen, and here we're in the event where all of us have gathered. We've all clicked join video for the desert, which we're down here in the desert room. We can see who's on video. A few other people might be joining the space. And here, Ben and Francois, as the organizers of this event, have embedded Canva so you can flip through and see these beautiful photos. And I think it's important to create beautiful spaces because it makes us collaborate at our best. Our Qiqo stands for quality in, quality out. And part of the quality, we want everyone to be able to contribute at their best, because when one person shares an idea on a call, everybody else hears it. So we want people to be able to put their best in because everybody else is going to hear their best out. So part of that is letting the organizers like Ben and Francois customize the space to meet the needs of their audience. And here, everybody in this conference knows that they can go from clicking through all the tools. So here's a very amazing and intense tool called Team Up that Ben has integrated a calendar. This is the higher end of the collaborative tools that we've seen, where it's quite complex, but it's quite powerful. I'd say it's more powerful than it is complex. It meets walks the right balance. Then other things like a discussion board. And so this is a tool that Qiqo has built, whereas the calendar is something that Ben had integrated. And then some other things like, here's a list of all the registrants and you can send them a direct message. Then networking map, I think, what is this one, Ben? Is it Kumu? Okay, so a really amazing tool, which all these tools live on their own outside of Qiqo, and they're bringing them into this specific event space. And then you kind of want to see this one on a full screen. So this would be the button over here to make it go full screen and to really dive in and explore all the connections between people. So right now we're talking about what is Qiqo. I'm going to talk for another few minutes and then we'll open it up for more conversation. So here we're in the middle of the Bio-Regional Regeneration Summit, October 24th through November 4th. And we want people to be able to stay connected even after the event is over. So we have this concept after an event is over called a circle. If you know Facebook, it has groups. QiqoChat has circles. Even the word circle is important. We didn't create it. I think others have been using it, especially in the dialogue space, but a circle is egalitarian, whereas a group often has a hierarchy. And I think that just saying the word circle, everybody has an equal spot at the table, and you could step in or you can lean back depending on how much you want to get involved. One of the great ways for someone who is an event organizer, a community organizer, is to think, how do we let people contribute in a way that they feel comfortable, in a way that they can, without overstretching them and stressing them. Because if we can get all these little tiny contributions from people that only have 5 minutes, and if you could gather all those as opposed to not having a space for them, then you're going to create a tremendous wealth of knowledge. So let's take a look at a Kiko circle. So here we'll see at bioregen.QiqoChat.com, it has a similar style. On the left-hand side, you could see all the spaces going down. These are all the spaces that Ben and Francois have put in here. Similar how Facebook has a menu on the left-hand side. So right now, these are all the people that are online. And
Yep.
He's gone.
Well, he's frozen momentarily. Yeah.
Right. Okay.
Yeah, so if it isn't clear, the event space that you've been mostly in for QiqoChat is an event that is that's connected to this circle. And so circles can have lots of events, and the whole summit is in there as a single event. And so if you registered for the event, you're also part of the circle automatically. And some of the tools we're using actually are circle tools, like our resource lists or the collaborative newsletter that goes out, where anybody can put in one item per week and it goes out on Mondays. All right, we lost Lucas. As you can see, Francois and I can pick up from there. But so we do want to. It's one of the reasons I chose QiqoChat, aside from the fact that I've known Lucas, for 12 and a half years and want to support him, and his platform offers some really, unique things in terms of how well it plays with other tools, right? Which I think is a key to this question of network-to-network collaboration, that we're not going to find one platform to rule them all. And so something where you can mash up lots of things. So that team up calendar, there's nothing else like it that I've found. Yeah, it can be a little confusing and overwhelming. Like, I signed up on the calendar. Doesn't that mean I'm signed up for the event? And shouldn't I get a notification and the Zoom link? But, so that's all happening inside QiqoChat, and you can lose people in the transition. But I still think it's worth it. Anyway, Lucas, I was just highlighting how the event and the circle sort of dance together, and some of the special tools that the circle has that we're actually using inside the event, and how people who've registered for the event, the summit, are also part of the circle.
super. Sorry about it. I just lost power and internet connection here, so I'm glad to be back. So I'll show maybe 2 more things here. We're looking at the circle, and the circle is different spaces. So here, there's a beautiful registration, even with a welcome video.
Hi, everyone.
Multimedia. So Ben and team did a fantastic job just thinking through how to bring in and make people feel welcome. Then different tools. If you want to see the member map, click over here, and over 1,000 people in this circle. You could see them all on a map. You can scroll in, scroll in, click on someone's name, and send them a direct message if you want to. You can look at their skills, their needs and offers. Part of Kiko's philosophy is we want to provide structure for these 1,000 people to productively engage with each other. So we structure the inputs. It's not just a free-for-all of talk about anything you want at any point. It's, here's a place if you have a need and offer, this is where you can add it. And so other people can connect with you on that way. Can
I just jump in there with one sort of side note too? So this is a great example of where we want this conversation to go, because this isn't the only place you can place needs and offers, right? We're running live sessions on offers and requests, and each of those generates its own little kind of private list for the people that show up there. We're also inviting people to put offers and requests on the high-low platform, which has a built-in capacity for that too. And so part of the inquiry here is, how can we not require everybody to all show up in one space, but be more powerful by connecting across multiple networks with things like needs and offers, or requests and offers?
Absolutely. That makes that really practical, this conversation of how do we, so if the same type of information is being shared in a few places, which naturally it will be, how do we help connect the needs and the offers together? And I think the connection is a human that cares, a human that's spending time in both places, has their radar up and sees, oh, there's a need here, there's an offer here, let me introduce these 2 people. And that's how we weave the network together. The last tool I want to show here, which is definitely about weaving information together, this is a news stream. So I don't know another tool that offers something like this, but for this circle, these are association professionals, like people that create associations for dentists or accounting professionals, all similar people in a similar profession. So we're trying to allow these community builders to find 100 blogs across their association. And then QiqoChat goes out to those blogs, and in the center here, just goes out every hour and pulls down all the new blog articles inside the community. And when you click on it, it takes you to that web page. So we're not trying to hold the traffic, we're just trying to help connect the traffic. And people can give it a thumbs up, you can see who clicked it, and there's also some tagging here. I think that for the BioRegen Summit, I would love to set this up, finding out all the sources of news that people want to keep their fingers on the pulse of, but rather than visiting 100 blogs in a day to find out if there's any new, it's kind of like an old technology called RSS, where all the updates came to you, but RSS isn't very, there aren't a lot of RSS readers, I think, that people are using now. And then that's for blogs and news streams. And then here would be social media. So all the Instagram posts of all the members, all the YouTube posts of all the members, or a list of people in all the Twitter accounts that you want to follow as a community. Twitter has something called lists, and we just embed that here. So that's what I wanted to say. That's where QiqoChat is headed. It's trying to be this connective tissue between many different networks, between many different tools. And we don't try to build all the tools, we try to connect the tools. So when you inform people, the question is, well, what happens? Maybe one other thing I'll add is Kiko is built around open space, which is a method of organizing where in an unconference, people can say, I want to talk about this topic. I want to talk about it at 2 o'clock in this room. They put a piece of paper up on the wall in a grid and says 2 o'clock, that room and that topic. But we thought, well, what happens if people could do that at any hour of the day? People want to talk about some topic, like maybe there's some news happening here. And now they just want to talk about it with 5 other people or 2 other people. So we give them a way to schedule a meeting. And even if they don't have a Zoom account, they put one into the circle, and then notifications go out, and then people will show up at the right time. So here you'll see the circle loading. It's the same thing you saw before. And they could do that. It puts something on the calendar right there on the stream. So that putting the information out, it's like breathing. It's the information goes out, exhale, and then you inhale. Maybe you want to inhale a conversation with a few other people, and then exhale the harvest from it. And it's this process of iteratively refining information, merging information. Well, there's a lot of information to you. So we've exhaled, put a lot of information out there, and now let's pause, see where the conversation goes. Let me turn it over to Ben and see where we can take it.
Actually, maybe we should get some input or feedback from the group first, right? How do you want to frame that, Lucas? What would be valuable to you?
Okay. Well, let me just open this to Arlene first, who just unmuted. Sounds like she has a comment she'd like to share.
Oh, I was just, well, first of all, it's early here and I'm still trying to wake up. So if I'm not fully coherent, that's my excuse. The thought that came to mind, and I want to be totally positive on this, but I'm in Los Angeles where we have tons and tons of graphic designers and stylists. The first time I looked at your website, and I could critique it if you would like privately, but I think you need a very, very high quality graphic designer to help you fine tune it a bit in terms of the imagery and things like the colors and the type fonts and so on. That would be my recommendation from the west side of LA.
I welcome that, and I fully agree. It looks like it's built like an engineer, not a designer, and that's because it's true. So the good thing that I've done as an engineer is whenever somebody wants to customize it, they can. And so when we look at what Ben and team have done here in the event, I think the event is looking quite good, and I think this is really well done. In the circle, I think we're going to get there with more iterations, and people with design talent, we can incorporate it. I learned early on as a facilitator that I can't make all the decisions for everyone So what I had to do is really make it customizable. So fortunately, Kiko is customizable, but one of the shortcomings is doing that customization is a little difficult because it's full customization. So I completely agree that there's a gulf between where QiqoChat is by default and where it needs to be for people to really jump into those circles. But I'm confident that we've got the talent to make this bioregion circle. We're gonna bridge that gap. And the lessons we learned bridging that gap for this community, we will start to make as intelligent defaults for other people that don't have a designer on staff. So Arlene, I fully agree. And over to you, Ben.
Yeah, I think there's a larger point to make behind this observation, which is, that builds on what you noted before, that you're not a billion-dollar company. You're a young guy with a family, this is a family business. And so we're so spoiled by the technology that the billion-dollar companies, the $100 billion companies have made. They're so slick, they're so easy, they're so beautiful, but they also, of course, are designed to do things that are not regenerative, to say the least. So part of network to network collaboration, part of radical collaboration that we're talking about here is there are going to be hurdles to jump through. Things are going to be a little messy. They're going to be a little challenging. Everything won't be the prettiest and the slickest. And the point is, if we care, how do we tap into the fact that people really are passionate about transformational change, about regeneration, about bioregioning, and get to the point where, it doesn't matter that much. That, okay, maybe you get confused, maybe you get lost, but there's some way to get help, and eventually you get into the thing you want, or you do the thing, or the platform or the tool isn't the prettiest, but radical collaboration says we don't let that stop us. We don't, and we don't get bogged down too much in, well, it could be better in these 10 ways, because the fact is what we have now is freaking amazing. It's not just QiqoChat, it's so many other things. And we're using like one millionth of our capacity right now to collaborate with these tools. I mean, even what you built with QiqoChat, right? What percentage of the awesome tools you've created is anybody using right now? Like this newsletter, it's such a simple thing. Anybody can contribute something. Once a week, a newsletter goes out. How many people are actually using that well and in a lively way? Right?
We have 180,000 people that have joined us since the pandemic. And your group has about 1,000 people in it. So like 0.5% of QiqoChat and maybe like 20 out of those 1,000 added something to the newsletter. So it's like a fraction of a fraction of a fraction. Your group is definitely on the cutting edge. Arlene, over to you. Oh, I really love it, Ben. It's like, that's my philosophy too. It's let people get the help they need and just keep building further and further, faster and faster, because then we're going to catch up with a group like this that has the energy to run. And then we're going to discover new mountains to climb, and we're going to climb those with you. And then we get there, it's like new things become possible. Like we're trying to move fast, but we also have to pick up some pieces so that it can be more inclusive and more people who are used to beautiful design can jump on board. Arlene.
We can make it more beautiful. I see Annalika's comment there, and it was 2 old white guys that were her, and 1 younger white guy that set this up. And none of us are artists. And we're going to do this again in 6 months, this summit. So
I just want to chime in. I agree with everything that's been said, and I want to add my kudos to the achievement to date. But my comment stands that if the graphic design and the interface design, the graphic user interface design, were somewhat tweaked, it would actually amplify the fabulousness of this platform. So that's my comment.
No one's arguing with that. Maybe 1 or 2 other thoughts, because I do want to move into kind of a collaborative exercise into what network to network collaboration we might want to try out. Uhuru, welcome.
Good morning. Hi. I just wanted to give some great feedback for my experience with the platform. I've been doing kind of weekly Zooms for the last 3 years and doing all of this work that seems to, you do this great meeting and then it gets disconnected. And now you have to get everybody back in, and maybe you have an archive of recordings, but then you have a Google Doc, and then you have all of these other, kind of mainstream's way of practicing. And this is really for me, like a virtual blueprint of sociocracy, or of an infrastructure of virtual sociocracy that really is exciting. And I love that people are already dreaming about, ways of bringing it forward. Something that, as a form of feedback that I've noticed that people that I've invited who were like of a certain age group, I really think that those folks who kind of, the folks who are younger, folks who are neurodivergent, like myself, probably would be really great on the design team. Because like that design team really needs to look like the people who aren't able to get here, and to navigate swiftly. And I'll leave it to Siobhan.
You're on mute.
Oh, I have my camera working, but early morning here, and I don't know, lighting isn't very good. I have a question, if I understand this correctly. So the circles, or you can direct me to where you would look, but so the circles or just the events, can they be, for instance, events that are bringing all the regenerative agriculture people together, and for instance, we're on a farm, we're doing a food security project, and we're explaining something, a practice that we're doing that everybody in the Regen network needs to know. Are we able to live, do a Zoom right from the farm and show everybody what we're doing, and then talk about that and find out what they're all doing, and their show, and instead of everybody sitting on their decks or in their offices, we're actually doing our thing at the farm, and we're showing people exactly what we're doing, and then we're able to collaborate that way, because somebody has a great idea and nobody knows about it, and it's better to show than write it down in a blog or whatever. So is that possible on this network?
I'll say the answer in general for QiqoChat is that the organizers determine they are the ones that normalize what should or could be happening. And it takes members that are inspired, like you have this wonderful idea, you bring it up to the organizers, say, I think this is possible. And then the organizers say, that is possible, that's great. And we want to let everybody know that that is completely invited and welcomed. So okay. I mentioned that we were built on this open space model where anyone can say, I have this topic, or I want to have this conversation, and I want to do it at noon on a Tuesday. And they write it on a piece of paper. If they were doing it in the room in person, they put it up on the wall. And Kiko is that same metaphor. You say, I want to have this session at this time. You put it on the calendar, and then people who want to be notified about these kinds of events, they receive notification, and then the right people for that conversation show up. The people that are inspired to be there for that topic.
Perfect. Excellent. Thank you.
And you don't have to bring your own Zoom either.
That what you name.
Yeah. So
right?
You can use this system, this network. So I don't have to set up my own Zoom.
Right.
Right.
And because we've talked a lot about QiqoChat and what it can do, and I want to hear from Grace, and that may still be in that context, but I do want to shift us into this larger question of network to network collaboration, which means cross-platform collaboration too, right? Because all these different networks already have their own home bases, and we're not going to get them all to come over to our house, nor would that even be appropriate, right? But the idea that you just named, that kind of an event, is a lovely invitation that could be something that propagates across multiple networks. And part of what I want to do in this call is identify what are some things we might want to try to energize for cross-network collaboration moving beyond the summit. Grace, over to you.
Yeah, it's interesting because I think what I have to say is exactly that. It's like I I've been using the QiqoChat for quite a long time. I've been participating in IIW, which I think, you know, and it's really come a long way as well. And okay, you know, the interface is what it is, but once you get used to it, you know, it's like, okay, but it has all these features. And very early on, QiqoChat was, very early in the pandemic, really had a leg up over a lot of the other platforms that were trying to scramble and make this work. So I just want to say that. I'm really sad that IIW is in person now because I'm not going to California. It's like so awesome when it was here. But yeah, I mean, I think my comment is exactly what Ben's pointing at. It's that the problem with network-to-network collaboration is we're all on so many platforms and we don't have a home. And I like that direction of things should integrate into one platform, and then we can come to a home and find all those different things. I liked what you did with YouTube and all those things I don't want to use anymore because there are Web3 alternatives, and I really, other than YouTube, I don't, you know, like whatever. I don't use any Zuck apps, but it is useful for people to pull all that in, and it can become a way to transform. And I'm skeptical about high-low and whatever, like but there does have to be a decision about which chat app is integrated. But like, I think that, yeah, this segues really well into what Ben says, like, how do I, because it's based on conferences, people's attitude towards conferences is something like, I'm done the conference, right? And I've been really thinking about creating a campus, but maybe this is a better, and I was, you know, I've been looking at the metaverses, but maybe this is a better system for a campus than what I've been looking at because of that. Anyway, but as looking at a like, if there's a campus, there has to kind of be one home. Like, where's the University of Regeneration? So I think that's what Ben wants to ask.
Well, I think that's a great segue into this next part of the conversation. And maybe I'll do two quick presentations. And that distinction between a campus and a conference, I think, is maybe, I wasn't going to share this one thing, but I'm going to do it now because of that. So I think that's part of where we might shift our thinking in order to get to tapping more than one millionth of the capacities we have. So yeah, so I'm going to share two quick things here. So conference thinking, right? Let's say you're planning a conference, and this is how we still, my contention is we're still thinking about our virtual spaces in the same way, right? So it's something like we're gonna gather 200 people for 2 days, and it's gonna be in a place. So that means you're in a building, and you're in one point on this line here. I thought there was more to this, but yeah, I think this Prezi was supposed to. Anyway, that's designing for one point on a line that's known as the power law of participation. This is how the internet works. This is how Linux was built. This is how Wikipedia works. You have lots and lots of people spending a very small amount of time contributing a little bit of stuff. You have small groups of people spending lots and lots of time, maybe full-time, maybe overtime, like me in this event. And you have this curve so people can find their place on it. And that's how I think we want to design more. And so, yes, we have a summit. We're gathering a focus of attention that's kind of like a conference, but we made it 2 weeks long, which we couldn't do in a conference because nobody would come, or very few people would come for that long, right? And everybody that's here doesn't have to be here for the same amount of time for the whole time. People are dipping in. Some people, like, are coming to almost every session. I don't know how they're sleeping, but other people are just coming to one, or other people maybe just register and get on our email list, and that's a contribution. Or they put themselves on the networking map, and that's a contribution. So how do we design to get that power law participation working? And I think it includes these pulses of sort of gathering intense activity, but then doing things in a more stretched out way that are both asynchronous and synchronous, but not like everybody has to show up at the same time. So the other thing I want to show you in that regard, and this goes back to somebody was saying before, and maybe it was you, Lucas, about how people are going to self-organize based on the information that's here, like to schedule calls and things like that, right? And I've put out lots of invitations for that kind of stuff to happen. in the past. And what I've seen is, again, that a tiny fraction of what can happen does. You've all had the experience with a conference, right? You leave with 50 different business cards, for example, and how many of those do you actually follow up with? And the energy of the whole thing leaks out. So there is this idea of network weaving, right? That if we don't leave it just to the people on their own to organize, but there are people who are actually looking at and sensing into the energy of the whole and where their connections and where their possibilities, that's a way to tap into more of the capacity here, because there's so much data in this network map, right? So many people have put care into their profiles, and they haven't just put in profiles. They've listed a new view here now with gifts and resources and conversations they want to have. And you can click on anybody here and see what they're, like Trebi. I don't think she's shown up for the conference, but she's freaking awesome in what she's doing. And she's, telling us what a conversation is that she wants to have, for example. And I think maybe there's, I just set this up. I'm not sure about the coding. There should be maybe a resource or a gift in here too. Anyway, so we have a team of weavers that we want to assemble to do this. And whatever we imagine we might do going forward, for example, in network-to-network collaboration, I think that's where you really need weavers, right? So here's another new view on the map, that if we're going to cross networks, then you need people that are embedded within each of those networks and in the tools and the platforms that those networks are using. Or if we use a tool like, say, CoDigital that we're doing some ideation with right now, that's interesting. I guess I haven't finished coding this yet to actually see. Oh yeah, here we are. Right now I just have buttons that filter it. So these are the people that have said they're ready to weave from the summit. And then we can add in the ones who said they wanted to know more. And there's a lot of people who want to help make connections coming out of this. So these are all people that can support us potentially in network-to-network collaboration and help us to get across all the different tools and platforms. So that if, for example, we want to do another CoDigital survey with a different question than the one we're asking right now, that thing could travel. And it's just not that, but then there's conversations based on that information and things get organized or whatever. So Annalika, I see you have your hand up. I'd love to maybe take a minute for people to just think quietly after we hear from you about what a network-to-network collaboration possibility is that inspires you and might transform what we're doing here and our overall movement towards bioregioning, and maybe just write into the chat to start, and we can hear some people speak that. But I think that's where I want to go. Annalika, yes.
I think my question falls right into that one, because a network possibility that would inspire me hugely is if I could pull out easily all the actual bioregional activities, collaborations that are going on everywhere. I've seen a map somewhere in one of the presentations, so the information is there, but if that could be woven into this one, because I would love to connect with the different bioregional initiatives, know who I need to approach for that. Well, that's my first. And the other one is that you probably have a policy on broadcasting certain things, because basically what I've tried is to weave myself into this platform. I'm now on high-low, and every day I do a little bit to find out how it works. And I'm thinking, I think it would be, so I'm doing it on a one-on-one base, connect with somebody, and then that person brings me further. But I would also like to broadcast, and I get it that if everybody starts to broadcast like little initiatives or announcements, it might swamp. So maybe there's wisdom in just offering people to broadcast once a week something.
Well, that's Lucas's idea. He wrestled with that, and yeah. So that is exactly what you just named as a possibility, some kind of mapping of what's going on in different bioregions, which may also already be happening. My guess is there's 10 versions of that already out there, but that's part of what we could explore. And that maybe is another thing that happens, right? Is that, again, it isn't one map, but we learn about all the different maps. I don't know. Anyway, I'm going to, if you all consent to this, I'd like to spend, and I only have another 10 minutes here because I have to get ready for radical networking. But you could stay longer. I don't know, Lucas, if you have more time. But even in 10 minutes, if we spend 3 minutes just kind of thinking and tuning into stuff on our own, putting some things maybe in that Google Doc or in the chat, a Miro board too, if I might have said that. Anyway, let's just use those two tools and see what we get. And maybe have just a little bit of sharing after this about it. And then we're sort of into, this is again, the pattern, right? It doesn't have to all happen in this 1 hour Zoom call. Once we identify these things, if we care about it, if we want to, we can keep working with them. We can find the people who weren't on this call because there were 5 other things going on, and weave them into. All right, so
Ben, we've got the Google Doc open here, and the central question that you'd like us to type in some notes on. Can you repeat that to me, please? I'll put it in.
What is a possibility, or let's call it an opportunity, for network to network collaboration in service to bioregional regeneration? You can just, that's sort of implied, that inspires you and might transform this emerging village that's popping up here as a result of this summit and the way that we can serve the wider field. That's some essence of that. All right, I'm gonna play a song.
Great framing, I've got it. For anybody that's looking for the Google Doc, Ben posted it in the Zoom chat. You can see people are answering that question.
Yeah, you could do it in the chat too, sure. I suggest you put your name next to this if you're contributing it. And if you see one that you resonate with, that you also put your name after that person's name.
Right.
I think we got quite a lot just flowed out quickly there, didn't it?
I'll share the screen so people watching the recording can see like what's going on there, just for a moment. To get the scale.
Time check here. Lucas, do you have the ability to stay on beyond?
I'd be happy to. Yes, of course.
Are there people that want to do that? Just kind of a quick show of hands, maybe.
We can wrap up at the top of the hour, and then if people want to just extend, we'll continue.
I can stay a bit, but mostly I mean, obviously I've been thinking about this for a long time and writing about this for a long time. And so what would be more productive for me is to be part of a group that's actually doing this rather than spending more time chatting about it. I could write a book on it.
Yeah,
and
well, that's the point. This group is going to do some form of this. I am committed to that. Right, and all those weavers, they're waiting to be invited to actually weave. They don't really know what they signed up for yet, maybe. So you know, let's do it, Grace. And we have, you know, between now and 6 months from now, when we do the next summit, I think to try, I would say, multiple experiments. I'd love to see us come up with at least 3 that we attempt, of different sort of scales and ambitions, maybe, to learn from. And then by the time of the next summit, we'll be ready to do another iteration. How about if we do this to close? Let's just hear briefly from each person here, you know, as some kind of closing reflection. I don't even have a question, but just, I don't know, what are you taking away with you from our time together? Go in any order, just unmute and go, and know that I do have another session, Radical Networking, that starts at the top of the hour. So I want to get there at least a minute early.
I'll go. This has been really fabulous. Thank you, Lucas, for all the work that you've done. You as well, Bob. Grace, all the years that you've spent in this this space. Annalika, for your comments, and Uru for your comments. Thank you all. Shaban, I'm learning, but I have some ideas to add to, but I'll do that later. Thank you.
What's coming up for me, sorry. What's coming up for me is just connection and the service of good humaning and the earth, and just what this whole summit is about. Thank you.
I'm still new and still understanding this great networking tool, I would classify it as. And I believe that the more people that can network, the more we can accomplish as a whole. And I think that collaboration over competition is the key here, and that's where the world's going. I think I do a lot of networking, and I do a lot of social media, and they're not, the social media isn't necessarily geared specifically to one area of interest for people. For instance, agriculture, sustainable or regenerative agriculture, or something like that. And it would be great to be able to connect with people all over the world on a regular basis and speak to the interests that, or the work that you're doing, like, so that everybody's doing. And I think if we can pull from the ether all these great ideas, then we're stronger together, and we can accomplish great things and create a world that is symbiotic, I guess is the word, and that it's powered by high vibrations and love, as opposed to divided by hate and competition. And I think this is a great platform to build on, and you guys are doing a great job. We're innovators ourselves, and I know what it takes to try to build a business from scratch. And kudos to all of you guys that are doing this. I believe this kind of networking platform absolutely needs to happen, and way to go.
I think I'm left with how much work there is still to do, but also I'm very encouraged that the QiqoChat people are so open-minded. I've really run into a lot of walls with people who are like, they have the idea and this is how it's going to go. And this is really encouraging to see how much that you're open to different ideas and open to flexibility, and Ben's attitude of, okay, let's experiment. We don't have all the answers. It's just so refreshing in it. And I'm really happy to be with you guys.
Yeah, to me, each group and each network and each network of networks or network collaboration is going to have different needs, different ideas, different ways of working, different ways of collaborating. And therefore, whatever is created has to be flexible, it has to be movable in different ways. And I think that's the key, is that we're not fixing any one particular way of doing things. And the only thing that also needs to happen for it to work is clear navigation and clear, the people actually have a proper, good understanding where they need to go for what. Because otherwise they might just miss things, when even though they're looking, they might miss things. So that's something we also need to work on.
Yeah, I'm thinking about gratitude, of feeling gratitude about, the folks who build tables. Thank you for building the table and inviting us and laying out such, lovely, tasty dishes from, your experiences and your culture, and using all of that, and so I'm really feeling the radical hospitality of this experience and this platform. Thank you so much. And I'm also sitting with curiosity about, how committed this group will be to really really going into leaning deeper into who is not here, why are they not here, how do we centralize the marginalized with our technology. And yeah, so it's, it's just like Day of the Dead kind of type of feelings, because it's just like, yes, thank you for building this beautiful table. And there's also like this everything that we build, I think a lot of us have this experience, a lot of things that we build, we're not really building for ourselves. And yeah, so I'll leave it there.
Then we know you have to run. I think thank you so much for all those wonderful comments from everyone and insights. And I echo the comment of, wow, there's so much work yet to be done. When we're standing on this hill, we can see the next mountain.
Oh, I do have to go right now. I'm going to be late. Yeah.
See you later, Ben.
I just want to quickly name that I don't know if it was on there on the list before, but what you named, Uhuru, one of the things that's near and dear to my heart would be some kind of network to network collaboration that weaves in lots of people who don't use any technology at all, or don't have to use technology at all, to be included in the collaboration. Because again, there's somebody in a mediating role that can connect with them in a different way in person and bring that into the conversation. So thank you for naming that, Lucas. I'm going to make you host.
Super. Thank you, Ben, for convening this. I hope your next Radical Networking session goes great. We'll keep the call open for anybody that wants to continue the conversation for another few minutes. And I'm I was really delighted and surprised to see, Grace, that you come from the internet identity community, which was the first one to be meeting on Kiko at the beginning of the pandemic. They had to go from an in-person conference. And that's just a wonderful group of people talking about really esoteric, complex technology that's fundamental to all the collaborative tools that we're using. Internet identity is so fundamental to them. And I just love how you're bridging in your comments that. I wanted to call that out. And also your other comment, Grace, about how much work there is to be done, who and who's not here, and how do we bring them in. I'm excited and jazzed by what's possible now. And I want to be part, we help a lot of groups, but I want to be part of specifically this group, which is going to explore new pathways that it's a smart business decision for us to work and build. As you're like weaving the path, we're going to be mowing the lawn behind it so that other people can walk on that path a lot easier. Great. I saw you had unmuted. Did you want to add anything?
No, just like, I thought you said my name. I thought, oh, maybe I'm gonna have to respond.
Well, anyone is welcome to drop off at any time. Francois, would you like to add anything?
Oh no, I forgot to mute myself.
Any closing thoughts from anyone before we close the space?
Lucas, I just really want to be in celebration, you know, around this offering. It's
Thank
really
you for
great.
this.
Yeah, thank you.
You're very welcome. Thank you for saying it, and thank you for being here. It's like you can have all these feelings at the same time. It is a celebration, but also, yeah, Day of the Dead. It's like there's a lot that we're missing. There's a lot that humanity isn't doing right now. And then, what was the question you said? You're sitting with curiosity about how will this group take all the energy forward? And that is always the big question from any, as Ben said, a pulse of intense activity. Does it dissolve? I'm sure that there will be strong embers burning after this one that will stay ignited until the next one happens in 6 months. The fire certainly won't go out, and we will reinforce them, give them some more fuel. Whoever's got passion to be those network weavers, we will empower them with the tools they need to do that efficiently. And they are the cutting edge. If they can succeed, then the community can succeed. Kim, I see you're unmuted. Did you want to add anything?
Oh, I was just joining in with the thank yous and that kind of thing. I'm sitting with a lot inside right now.
Annalika, did you want to add anything?
I find this platform really easy to navigate the different features. I mean, you need some time to familiarize yourself with that. I've been in a week now, but I've visited most of the places now. And I would love to make actually this platform and also the summit, this community, my home for the expansion of my regenerative initiatives. And I put some things in the chat. I don't know if they are for you, Lucas, or if they are for Ben in terms of how to organize within the possibilities that you've created. But I'm really happy and enthusiastic, so I thank you.
Clarifying question: when you say you put it in the chat, did you put it in the document where everyone was typing their notes?
I put all of it in the document, actually.
Super. I'm sure Ben will be following up with that. I'm putting my contact information in the chat if anybody needs anything. I guess this might be a good place to say thanks. If anybody wants to stay on for final comments, we'll let everyone go that wants to go, and we'll stay on for anything else anyone else wants to say. But I'm delighted. Thank you for these insights and these connections and inspirations. And you're all doing the work, and we're building a tool that helps with work. So it's whenever I bump up against the people that are doing the work, that energy is, you share it and I receive it and I love it. I'm just excited. So thank you.
I think it would be so wonderful if some of this could stay on after the summit, so that you don't need to gather the resources again. We are on a journey. I mean, everybody of us is on a bioregional journey. And if you're at the beginning, you're listening in this conference for certain tools to help you start up. But if you're halfway, you need something else. And all that material is already in the conference. So I really hope that the resources can be like archived and then organized archived around topics, so that they will continue to remain easily found.
The space will remain open, and I'm confident that Ben is going to gather a group of people that want to help make sense of all of the energy that people have put in, so that we're not recreating the wheel. We're building on what we've. I look forward to supporting what people need there.
Lucas, I think maybe you're feeling all this energy because your quality in is also chi. I thought that was part of your company. So
I love it. I studied Chinese for 4 years, so I love that you pointed that out, and I never actually realized that. So super.
All right, well, I gotta go. It was nice to see everyone. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Yeah, I think that my comment is about, chat, right? My sense is the high-low people are really under-resourced, and that platform is just not taking off. And so I feel like something needs to be done around the asynchronous chat, either with them or with another collaborator. And I've been trying to get together people around like, okay, what is this alternative social network? Because I feel there's just a really huge lack of creativity around what is a social network. Like they're all just copycats with slight differences, instead of saying, okay, what does it really mean to create a social network which encourages social behavior? Because all of our social networks today encourage antisocial behavior. And so it must be true that we can change people's behavior just through the structure of how we optimize the discussions they're having. We can change it. And we've changed it to be nasty and divisive and controversial. And what would it take to make a system that, let's say you're participating in something that triggers you, and you type a certain way when you're triggered, and it says, hey, would you like to step away from the computer and review what you wrote before we post that on our chat? Or perhaps you'd like to phrase it this way, it would be more influential. There's just a complete lack of creativity around, because people have this, it's like, oh, but chat is good and we're expressing our true selves. And it's not good. Yeah. We're not expressing we're expressing our worst selves. And I get hung up on it too. I'll be on Twitter for a while. I actually wrote on a Twitter chat. I was having a Twitter discussion with somebody, and we were disagreeing on something. And I wrote, how about we assume that things sound a little bit nastier than we really meant them, and just leave it and agree that to disagree on this. And they were like, oh, fair enough. Like, how about we just say it's getting out of hand, let's just chill, right? And it's so simple, right? Like, I don't remember exactly what I said, but it was something that was really human, and you could hear, and his next response was really human, like, oh yeah, I could see that maybe we got a little carried away here,
I love it. I think that love what you did. You said the social media is causing us to behave in antisocial ways, and that the corollary is maybe there's a way, or the inverse is like maybe there's a way to design it so that we are working like pro-social ways. I will observe that I have been on, I think maybe 0 Zoom calls where anyone yelled at each other, but I've been on many online discussions where people yelled at each other, like, typed at each other with like all caps and like insulting people on Nextdoor and other places on Facebook, and even local community issues. And I think that one solution is to offer an option for escalating in terms of bandwidth by moving from a place where we're kind of maxing out our productive capability in this conversation over typing. Let's open the option for we call it a multimodal conversation platform. So like Kiko allows you to escalate, not escalate the rhetoric, but escalate the amount of information. So now not just my words are coming at you, but my emotions, my body through Zoom. It's more information is helping you realize that I'm not hostile. And whereas we can misread our typing at each other. So I think that if we humans get in that capability of pause like you did, and then open that option for, now let's have a chat, or even share a cup of tea or a beer over Zoom or something where we can just be together and kind of agree to disagree, but also not have to cut ties or ghost each other, but just sit and appreciate that we have differences. So I think the tech gets in the way with typing, and maybe sometimes escalating can, more information can help us like a step, more information can, okay, sorry, now I'm just like reframing what I wrote, or what I said is, because we don't yell at each other over Zoom, maybe we should spend a little more time on video with each other and less time talking. That is a
chatting.
hypothesis.
I have read a study that was done on this very issue that showed that people who have interacted face to face, and it doesn't have to be physical, it can be over Zoom, but who actually know who the other person is on the other side, then they tend to be far more considerate in their writing and in conversations thereafter. And very often it's people who don't know each other and have not been face to face in some form or another who tend to be where things can become a little bit more toxic, depending on personalities. Of course, I don't think everybody is necessarily that way. But there is another thing. For me, one of the big issues is the distinction. For me, it's a huge distinction, but I know it's not generally accepted as such. But between discussion or debate and dialogue and conversation, because debate, I mean, that comes from the word battere, which is to battle. It's about winning. And so the frame of being in battle with each other in chat it can be very toxic. It's competition and everything, and it's largely what we've been educated to do, actually. So it's not just the structure of the social media. The social media have brought it out, but it's actually something we've been educated to do. Whereas dialogue and conversation is really dancing around an idea. I mean, conversare actually comes from the word to dance, and it's a co-creative process and involves a lot of listening and so on. And so Zoom. There are Zooms. I've been very rarely, but there are Zooms where people have been rather toxic to each other. They tend to be within the same organization, people within the same, rather than ironically. But so it's not just the structure or the medium that makes it. It's also the attitude and our approach to things. And so and we need to bring sort of that more. Grace, you suggested some behavioral sort of things we could do to improve, but I think there are also probably some other things, some attitudinal things, or that would help or hinder the process. But I think it's hugely important, and it probably, based on what I said right at the beginning, it's probably there's a sort of maybe a hint there that we shouldn't be letting people converse asynchronistically who haven't first met physically. I mean, physically, not face to face. I meant to say. And I wonder if as a precondition to being part of an asynchronistic conversation is people to actually have. To have been together in the same room, in the same Zoom or something. I don't know. I was thinking out loud, but
You could have a license, just like a driver's license, like a chat license. But this seems like a really rich conversation that we could talk about, because some of these things might be really difficult to implement technologically, and some of them might not be difficult. You know, I've thought of a whole, you know, so just having a brainstorming session with a few people who are interested in, okay, how can we improve, whether it's high-low or whatever, but how can we improve that? And then what would that look like? Because some of it is AI, and I know the high-low people don't even have one AI person over there, like not one. They're not even thinking about it. But okay, we could find those people.
I especially, we don't have people having arguments on our platform, but
I left one of the rooms, by the way. I did leave one of the rooms. It was so unpleasant.
Was it?
Me. Yeah, in this conference. There was
well,
somebody leading a call, and they were so woke. I just couldn't stand it anymore.
I see. But that's the law of 2 feet in action.
Yeah, it was the law of 2 feet. But like, I made some comments, and they were just so insistent that I was wrong that I just left.
Yeah. Well, I'm sorry that experience happened to you. I like your idea. I wrote down encouraging people, using AI to encourage people to like pause or take a step back. We don't have people typing arguments at each other yet, because our typing tools, our typing conversations are more in our circles, and 99% of the activity has been in our events. But as people start working more, I do want to find a way to incorporate AI to help people take a step back, or maybe, hey, maybe think about another word other than this. I think that those sorts of guardrails to help keep conversations from driving off the cliff are brilliant. So I wrote that one down. Grace, I appreciate that suggestion.
Because I think, I don't know, like, I don't know if you're just integrating only with high-low or with others, but if you're creating your own asynchronous thing. But I do think, like I said, I've been really wanting to create I actually created a curriculum, I think it was 4 or 6 week curriculum for people who are developing the same thing to come together and say, you know, whether it's chat or mapping or whatever it is, and explain. There's so many people trying to do it, right? Explain why it is that, you know, they don't want to work with the other people, and kind of have to do some shadow work, but in a fun way. So like, you pair up with somebody, and then you have to boast about, like, say what your mind usually says, like not what would normally come out of your mouth, but like, well, I would never work with them. First of all, they're a whole bunch of men, and like, I just can't stand that masculine energy anymore. And like, you just like go on like a rant and a boast. My ideas are so much better. Did you see what I wrote in that QiqoChat document? Like, how much better it was than anybody else. Like, you go on this boast rant thing with each other and just get it out of your system, instead of trying to be nice all the time. So like, kind of a session where you do that shadow work, and you really see, like, where am I really unique and where am I not unique? When you have your partner reflect, like, well, I can see that this part really is unique to your platform, but some of the other things I've seen in other platforms, so that you just kind of like, you know,
I want to ask.
So damn nice.
So this is intriguing. Now, there's a few ways for me to process this. Are you saying that there should be a tool where so are you saying that people should be paired up so that they can have that honest conversation? Or are you thinking like it's a person getting prompted by technology to answer these questions privately?
I'm specifically thinking about the specific realm in which you and I operate, with all these people building these collaboration platforms, which are copycats of one another, but aren't going anywhere.
Gotcha.
You know what I mean, right?
Yes, I do.
You could name 20 off the top of your head, couldn't you?
I fully understand now where you're talking. So
like, it really is facilitated, like senior facilitators like myself, or, you know, maybe we could get Mr. Bartlett to come in and do some of this work with us, and, you know, like, get a bunch of people who are, because it's the same it's going to be the same in some of these regenerative communities like we're hosting right now. Like, they all are doing this, but the way we're doing it.
But I didn't catch the last one. But
the way we're doing it, you know,
yes,
like, everybody's got a little of that in them. Like, those guys over there, right?
Yes, yes.
And we don't want to say it, not even to ourselves. But I think that if we took, like I said, like the number of, chat platforms and the number of mapping exercises and the number of needs and offers marketplaces and the numbers of community currencies, and everybody is so much smarter than the other guy. They're going to try it again and theirs is going to be better and somehow it's going to get traction, and it's not. But if they collaborated, maybe we could get traction for a needs and offers marketplace that really worked. We need a needs and offers marketplace, but everybody and his brother is doing a different one. So you know what I'm saying?
I do. Now, I don't, speaking frankly, I don't think it's very easy to get a lot of teams that are building their own product to work together. What I think is easier, and I'm saying that's a worthy, if it can happen, let's do it.
Yeah, I don't know if I can do it. People are pretty resistant. And they're which is crazy because they're under-resourced. They don't have the money to do it.
What I think is a very achievable way to accomplish the goal is a hub and spoke model of a translator tool in the middle that is going to receive needs and offers from all of those ways and then push them back out from all of those platforms. So in other words, let's, in this context of bioregion here, you've got 1,000 people on QiqoChat. They're putting their needs and offers into QiqoChat. We can push that into a service, which will take it and push it out to all the other needs and offers places. And then that data comes back into that hub and comes back into Kiko. So if some people are engaging over Kiko, they can see all the needs and offers across all the platforms, and there have to be some standardization and deduplication. But then if other people want to be working on Hilo or some other tool that does needs and offers and not Kiko, and they're still part of the bioregional regeneration context, then they can still have access to all the needs and offers. But like a translation tool in the middle, we would be very enthusiastic with integrating with something like that. I think that is easier than us merging another company into ours or us merging into another company, which may happen at some point. But like what can happen this week is integration with the needs and offers tool like that. I'd love to do that.
This is the interoperability versus versus collaboration question. And I think I would be more, I'd be more enthusiastic about it if interoperability efforts ever went anywhere, and or if what I'm enthusiastic about is doing something better. You've done something better. And getting to the bottom of why these efforts are all failing. The needs and offers platform as a basis is a failure. It really is. It's just not working. It helps people. The only thing it does, the thing that it does best is it gets some people who never knew each other connected with each other. And that is a value. Like knowing one more person or knowing 5 more people, that is valuable. But it doesn't provide needs and offers. It doesn't fulfill people's needs, mostly.
I believe that if a team developed an amazing needs and offers tool, it could help people solve their needs. And
yes, I agree.
I just think because we built the needs and offers thing in like a week 4 years ago, and maybe we dress it up a little bit here and there, but someone could make that their entire company, their entire nonprofit, and would do an amazing job at it. So what to say is that we would love to swap out our needs and offer functionality with something that even
works better.
Yeah.
I understand.
We'd be all about it.
Okay. Yeah, I understand what you're saying. Yeah, I'm looking to do something a little more challenging, and I want to see a needs and offers challenge. See, this is how I'm going to say it. I'm going to talk specifically about needs and offers because I don't know that many of them, but I know they're all over the place. My specific problem with the needs and offers platforms is that none of them get enough traction to be good, and none of them get enough funding to be good, and none of them get enough creativity to be good. But if we could get a few teams together that were trying to do this, then we could at least be well enough resourced to do something good.
I agree with that. I think, let's say, you see how needs and offers is one sliver of what we do. we don't have a lot to give to the needs and offers improvement effort. Because
I understand.
It's like it cannibalizes.
No, I understand. That's not your thing. Yeah.
So I think that an effective team could if someone said we're going to do it differently by making it interoperable, we're going to make interoperability work in this context, and they had enough momentum where people said, they're doing it, we trust them, we're going to do our work to integrate with that interoperable standard, I think they could get the momentum they needed, and that would be a different approach. In other words, please keep me posted in whatever evolves.
But I'm up to,
we will be a willing integrator or teammate or player, whatever form it takes.
Okay, sounds good.
Super. I mean, just it's kind of, you just point out it's blazingly obvious. I'm looking here at all these needs and offers that people are putting. It's a lot.
It's impossible, right?
Yes.
So every needs and offers platform looks like this, by the way, just so you know. It's not you. People have not solved this puzzle very well. I mean, we know who solved the puzzle very well.
We know who solved?
Yeah, we know who solved the puzzle. It's Amazon.
Oh,
Amazon has solved the puzzle, right? They offer you things, and something pops up on your thing, like, I don't know, on your as you're shopping, would you also like this? And you're like, I would. How did they know? I would also like that. I forgot that, right?
Now that's bold what you just said there, because that's like takes needs and offers and puts it as like, this is hugely important, a massive market. It's a needs and offers collaboration marketplace is so different than this little tool that we built here. And so what I know,
but the thing is, right, here's my problem with it, right? The leap is so enormous. And when I talk to anybody doing a needs or offers tools, they'll say the same thing you're doing. It's like, wow, that's an enormous leap. And you're not a needs and offers person, right? But even the people who are needs and offers, they're kind of like, well, when we get enough people using it, then we'll get the funding and then we'll be able to make that leap. But that never happens.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm saying the same thing about high-low. Right?
I don't know enough about their situation.
It's the same. They don't have any, they're doing a chat, which looks like every other, social media networking platform. And you probably know from your integrations that people use it for about a week after the conference, and then nobody uses it anymore. People go back to using Facebook and whatever else. And they can't get the traction to get to that next phase. And they're good people.
The first conference that's using high-low on Qiko.
Oh, it is. Oh, okay.
We have I'd say a basic email discussion board functionality that I designed it because I got into tech in 2006 to build tools for visualizing consensus in national debates where 1 million people are arguing with each other. How can you distill some gold out of that? And then started building Qiko in 2012 after that. So I see we're coming up at a transition here at 12:30 Eastern. Right. So I think so. Anyway, we are in touch.
Anyway, there's some cool work that can be done in this area. All right, cool.
I fully agree, and thank you for this energy. And Francois, anything else to add?
No, but just that. I mean, I'd really like to carry on this conversation because it really speaks also to some of the things I've been trying to say in terms of getting getting the platform to work so that so it goes beyond just the short term sort of functioning but. Okay. So it's definitely a conversation I'd like to carry on, continue.
Okay. I'm in. And needs and offers, you just put that on my radar, Grace. It was a side thing, and now it's like, wow, it's central. It's central to collaboration. So I'm taking a second look at it right now.
The problem with needs and offers is, here's the problem with needs and offers, really. The problem with needs and offers is that we mostly are not in a position to really care for one another's needs.
To really
care for one another's needs, right? We have a problem with that.
So you're muffled.
Maybe, yeah. Is that better?
Much better.
Sorry, yeah.
You said we're not really in a position.
We're not in a position to fulfill each other's needs. We're in a position to fulfill each other's requests.
Mm.
Like, you know, we're not in a position as online digital communities, generally speaking, to fulfill one another's needs. We can't share a house, we can't share food, we can't share hugs. So the main things that we need as human beings, we are not in a position to fulfill for one another. So most of the needs and offers networks are requests and offers networks, which is fine, but it's.
I'm telling my next meeting that I'm going to be 5 minutes late because I want to hear more, unless you have to run also.
I don't have to run.
Okay, I want to stay on. I'm going to tell my colleague that I'm going to be late. No, this is great.
Like, this is a thing that happens with me. People start talking to me and they're like, oh, wait a second. I never thought about that. This is like it's like this thing I have that people are like, oh, let's think of this.
Okay,
so to create a real alternative, right? A real place to go, right? Because we're trying to create a network. We're trying to create a place that's supportive of one another, but we can't feed each other. Even though, look at how many farms are in this particular network, lots. But because we're not physically located with each other, it's really just requests and offers. That's all I'm saying. It's like, we can help one another, but in a limited way.
I can get flowers delivered to your house. I can get a sandwich delivered to your house.
I know, but that's just money. You can send me money.
That's true.
You can send me money. That's it. It all goes down to you can send me money. And then you're inside the network of the dominant network. You're inside the extractive network as soon as you do that.
Well, I could also connect with you over Zoom and realize, hey, the two of us live 20 miles away. We're both planning on moving to a new location. Like we're going to change our housing due to, we just went remote and each of us are looking to get out of the city a little bit. And one of us knew that there's a new co-housing community on the outskirts of the suburban area near like on the edge of a farm. And like,
I get it. We could find each other that way. That's a specific thing, which I really think that we need, which is hook up with other people who want to do co-living network. Like that would be great. Who wants to go co-living? There isn't a good system for that right now. But basically, in order to create a real radical regenerative collaboration, it's going to require our own really needs and offers system where we can get off of the default system.
Now, I've just delayed my next meeting indefinitely.
Right, go.
No, it's the opposite.
I told him forget it.
Wow.
All right.
It was not urgent. He's on my team. We'll talk another time. But
right.
What do you have in mind, Grace? So maybe you've had these conversations.
Well, the bioregional collaboration is very interesting, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I have had this conversation. The bioregional collaboration is interesting because we're close enough to share things. We're close enough to have a really share network. Now, a good share network, and this is going to be true of requests and offers too, and this actually connects to what I'm saying, means that we're like, okay, that community over there has way too much, whatever it is, bananas, because they grew too many bananas this year. Let's distribute them around to everybody. And that community over there makes all the electricity and they share it around. Whether we use money or not use money, or whether we use reputation or not, but so you could have me work for you full time for QiqoChat if you could handle, if you had a digital nomad home where I could live and eat, then I'd work for you full time. And I wouldn't care. And I knew that I was going to be taking care of when I retired, because it's like a co-living space, and we take care of the young, we take care of the old. In the evening, I can take care of your kids in the afternoon, and then I can work nights. I don't care, right? Like I'm at that age. I don't take care of my kids anymore. But you could have me full time if you could take care of my needs, right? And same for whatever it is, Tibet, frogs. You could have him work full time on high-low, and if his needs were taken care of. But we can't. So all of our needs in office, we can't. And then we're all stuck in the money system.
Right, because money's the common, like, interoperable. I put money, I write a check, I send money through the bank, it shows up in your account, now you take it and you buy housing, electricity, and bananas.
Right, and the problem with money is that a dead tree is worth more than a live tree. And we're in the regenerative movement.
Oh, gotcha, yeah.
And that's the language that we're using to communicate with each other.
Well,
okay. Yes. So there's a lot of things I could say about money, but that's it. Money is part of money has a particular language about it, which will never be a regenerative language.
So what can we do as tool builders to, are you suggesting that a needs and offers platform that's actually going to be, to get a lot of usage, to actually be useful to a lot of people, it's got to not just be a tool for people typing in needs and offers, but it has to be a way for people to fulfill these needs and offers in a way other than sending money to each other?
Yeah. Look, if I can, yeah, absolutely. Otherwise, it always is temporary and lucky, and you scroll through that needs and offers things, and maybe somebody's got a website. And people use a lot of those needs and offers platforms because they want the networking opportunity. And this is the same problem that community currencies have had. It's like, because they kind of want that networking opportunity, they want to be nice, they want to be part of the network, but it doesn't last. If that needs and offers platform has to be a good, at least good, and I keep saying good, I don't really work with people who are good or, products that are good, right? I only really want to work with things that are excellent or outstanding. But at least for it to be good enough, and and we were talking about QiqoChat, like, it's not beautiful, but it's fine, it's good. And I want to use it because it's better in many ways than anything else out there. But it's at least, the needs and offers platform at least has to be better, good enough that it can substitute for some of the other ways I would get needs and offers, right? If I can go to Elance or Upwork or Fiverr and get somebody to help me with my website who's going to be reliably good, like I know they're going to, right? And reliably cheaper than somebody on this needs and offers platform. And in order to find somebody on the needs and offers platform, I have to scroll through. I have no way of knowing what their reputation is. Are they good at that or not? And they're like, I do websites for you for free, and you do this for me for free, and then it's great. And then I have to, you know what I mean? It's like making a face. You know what's going to happen, right? You're not going to go to that needs and offers platform to find your next developer for QiqoChat. If a right, like, that's just not going to happen that way. Or bananas, or whatever it is. Like, any needs and offers platform has to at least be decent enough that it's not, like, I can rely on it instead of how I would normally get that thing. That's why CSAs work. I have a CSA. They deliver vegetables to my door every week. I get a lot of radishes and turnips this time of year, man. But I'm learning to cook. It's fine. I'm learning to pickle things. It's fine. I eat a little bit more of things I don't want. That sacrifice is worth it. And it's not a disruption to my life. It's good. I don't get to pick what I get. It's all right, fine. But it's food. It comes to my door.
So I want to inquire, if you see some people have some needs and offers, let me just pull a few off of
there.
I am available, someone says, I'm available to deliver a free 1-hour lecture on the relevance of permaculture design, ... Another one says, I have learned and practiced some powerful questions that go to the heart of what it takes to support regenerative work. I'm happy to offer these questions. Another one, permaculture knowledge. Another one, I'm hosting a couple of offers and request marketplace sessions at the summit. I'm passionate about expanding possibilities of trading, exchanging goods and services between individuals or collectives using friendly ways, time banking, community exchange system. So are these the kinds of needs and offers that you're thinking of would be on the marketplace as it's envisioned by you?
No, nobody wants those things.
Mm-hmm.
Those are nobody, like, people are trying to be generous.
Mm-hmm.
But like, let's start with needs. Are there needs on there? Has anybody put their needs on there?
So, okay, I see what you're saying. So like an actual need of, I
need a web programmer even. I need a lecture on permaculture. I have a group of people who, you know, I need a permaculture expert, right? Like, what are the needs? Even,
okay, let me,
because that's the problem, because it starts with offers instead of with needs.
Okay, I'll run through some of the needs. Some of these may not make sense, but so a need, working at regional scale. There's no context for that one, skip. Need, interpreting to boards in traditional governance how they need to shift.
I need somebody to convince my boss that they need to change. Sorry, but like, that's what that says, right? Something like that. I need but that's kind of like, I need an executive coach, which I'm sure there are people who can translate that. Yeah.
Okay, well, on that one, so someone's in a situation with their board of directors, maybe they're on the board or maybe they're governed by the board, and they want the board to see things differently. So potentially they have a budget that they can pay for a consultant to come in and do a board retreat. Or another option is she wants to be the change agent and just bring some.
Yeah, that's potential. Yeah, that's a potential need. Yeah, okay, that somebody could answer.
Next, I need funding for regenerative projects.
I need money. Okay.
I need front-end design for computer-aided community software.
Mm-hmm. That's pretty clear. I'm looking for a volunteer front-end programmer. Mm-hmm.
I need opportunities to learn more about environmental sustainability and climate change.
That person has never heard of YouTube.
So I think
I'm not the nicest person in the world.
No.
You get what I'm saying, right?
I do. You're being honest, but
nobody's gonna put there like, I really could use a place to stay while I'm developing my thing, or give me 100 acres of land, or
And then let's go with that one. So that's deeper, because, well, first I'll say on the last one, for the person that needs to find how to search YouTube, I think a community builder, curator here from the bioregional regeneration community would go in and say that to that person. And that person now has a human, like, oh, they're looking out for me. And now they lean more into the network. Now they come back with a new need about something very specific. So they're moving up the ladder of engagement. I think a human doing that, massaging of the needs and offers is what's needed here. Now,
exactly what I said at the beginning, right? What needs and offers marketplaces mostly do is reinforce the network and get people to know one another, but they don't provide needs and offers.
And now you've brought up what is a deeper need. Someone needs 100 acres. So I need some land. I'm a permaculture expert. I need some land, for example. And now what would be the exchange? So, I think it's, my parents had a weekend place with a few acres of grassland that could have turned into an organic farm. I mean, someone needs 100 acres. It's really
whatever it is. It could be, right. Okay, let's say, we'll start small. Okay, someone
needs 5 acres. Someone needs 5 acres. So like practically, I could like say like someone in my family, hey, that place you have in upstate New York that you only go to like once every other month. Someone wants to live there. Let's say I happen
to make it beautiful. Share the whatever, the abundance with you. Mm-hmm.
So here, what I'm hearing from that need, it's not to me, it doesn't seem like completely different. It sounds just harder to fulfill and more impactful if it is fulfilled. So it's just, I guess, trusting the network to say, hey, I need this big thing.
Yep.
And so might it also be possible that in a needs and offer network, like all the other tools, that once people start using it, they would start, if they're getting their needs fulfilled and they feel more comfortable with people, they might start asking for bigger things? That seems possible.
It does possible. I mean, this is a deeper question, like how do you enter into that needs and offers network and how does it start? Part of what I'm interested in is community assistance, but I do think that a lot of these things need to be grounded in place. I'm not sure a needs and offers network that isn't grounded in place can work.
So we have this.
I don't know, but I'm not sure.
Understood. Francois, I see your comment. Thank you for joining us earlier today, and we'll see you online.
Yeah. We went over the top.
Okay. Grace, we will be rolling what we have out here to local communities in our county here in downstate New York to form circles. They will.
What do you call downstate? What county
well,
are you in?
I'm in Westchester County.
Okay.
So the county just north of New York City.
I know where Westchester is. Yeah.
So I think here, what we were looking to do is find ways to let businesses share with potential customers and get discovered, like adding functionality.
A marketing tool, right?
Yes, but yeah, I that's one way. Yes, it is.
That's how they're going to see it. And what are they? So I know more about this than you wish. Okay, so this is similar to community currencies in some ways, right? Community currencies are like, you can only use them locally. And the needs are always look the same. It's sort of like, we're a business and we want more customers, and that's why we might join that, okay?
Yes.
It's just another marketing tool for them. What does it really do? Now, if it works easily, that's great. But it's just another like local directory, really. The question is, what's the goal that you have in mind that would have you want to offer this needs and offers tool?
So I was not planning, well, the whole user-generated feedback, when we were doing, what we're planning for these local communities is make it easy to keep your fingers on the pulse of all the social media from all the businesses that you're interested in your community to help you shop local. Because, and also not just businesses, but the library, the nonprofit down the street that does the food drives, the this, the that. It's streamlining some information flows, but not where Facebook and Nextdoor are concentrating with like discussion from residents, but just uplifting and streamlining information from organizations, information from your local government too. But because we're a Zoom partner, what we're going to add to this is the ability for anyone to jump into a Zoom call to jump into open office hours, essentially, easily to discover new businesses, because you don't have to worry about parking, and you've always been curious about that business, but you've always been driving by. And so you pop in, you can see what they're doing. Maybe they're teaching a small class on how to frame a picture, or how to, some cooking thing, or they're showcasing or unboxing a new product at the local electronics store that just came out. And it's kind of like QVC for local businesses and local nonprofits to, and over Zoom. So it's like, but
what is the outcome that you would have that would be really great after 2 years?
I think that communities looking at the technology as their infrastructure, and the relationship that they would have with it would be different than they have with Google or Amazon, but they'd actually feel like it has their best interests at heart. That would make it have deep roots. That is, it's trust, because that trust of the communities is what's going to help it become useful and adopted. So
you want the technology to be adopted?
Well, I mean, that's just the step.
But like, you really got to get,
No.
like, you really got to get, like, what is the goal here?
I got it.
Because otherwise, I don't know what the next step is, right?
The goal is better communities.
Okay, better
And
community.
the tech is to enable that. But if the tech, it's
What
not
does
about the
better
tech.
mean? What does better mean?
Speaking, so we live in like just a block away is like a barren commercial corridor that just offers very little value because it's hard for businesses to get traction there. So a more vibrant local commercial, but also more community sharing things, like more people thinking in a community mindset of maybe we should have a community tool share, or maybe we should do a community like a coat shift where, you know, your third grader doesn't need that coat anymore, but the next third grader does. And that sort of sharing, it's not even an economy, but it's just bringing squeeze. Like
you're trying to do this in the most difficult environment possible. Like you're trying to do something in the most difficult environment possible. Because Westchester is a rich county, and people don't need that. And and the United States, and particularly, I mean, where you are is perfect exemplary place of that. The community ties are not very good. But if that's what you want to do, then my recommendation is to think outside of commerce.
Mm-hmm.
And I get it about this, you know, you're competing with Amazon. Amazon has crushed American business, absolutely crushed it. And I don't know if you can fix that.
I don't know that I can fix it, but
right. But
we're just trying to
can create community.
Mm-hmm.
But community doesn't really happen around buying.
I agree with that.
It happens around non-buying.
I agree.
The Bristol Pay experiment may be interesting for you
to
look at. I can connect you with Diana, and she's looking for funding or somebody who wants to implement what she's done.
Okay.
Diana she's one of my co-founders for Priceless now. I'm working on Priceless. I'm all about Priceless. Okay. And I don't have funding for it. And I'm just at this point of like giving up, but I can't give up because like, and I'll end up in some conversation like this and somebody will steal my ideas, which may be that may be all I do. I may never have a startup. I may just have people steal my ideas and hopefully implement them. So for 10 years, the Bristol pound was one of the more considered successful community currencies. But really the biggest there were a number of big obstacles. One was it was only preaching to the faith, the people who would want to shop locally anyway, so they would use it because it was pain. And secondly, it was a really big pain in the ass for the local shops. It's like, oh, I've got to have this separate thing and this other system and one more thing I got to feed into and I have to accept these weird things. And it was, and it was exclusive too. Like it was kind of for people who were into that stuff, whatever. And so what she realized is it didn't change behaviors, but what she started to invent and created sort of a prototyping, at least idea sketch for, was a system of tokens that would be used for displaying that you're a good person. So I rode my bicycle to work today. I uprooted a little bit of my patio and let it grow wild. Like all these things that they could do in collaboration with municipality, in collaboration with nonprofits, and then you would be able to like have this little like bragging wallet. And she did develop the wallet. She didn't get the funding for it, because there's no profit model in it. It's only about building community. It's not about making profit. But she's got a whole sort of structure that she's thought through about this, and which probably is more appropriate for what you're doing. I think that it's really important for communities to come together right now, particularly in the face of energy and food crisis. But that's not going to be through supporting local business. That's going to be through getting to know your neighbors and sharing economies and helping each other in a community garden. I mean, it would be really great to get the neighborhood together and say, hey, let's build a community garden in that empty lot. Which is another direction.
I think that if there's like, it's like a flywheel. If there's a community that's humming and humming and humming, then that community garden it pops off of it. It's almost inevitable. Like when you get people thinking in a community way, then community projects pop up.
Yes, and I think my experience is that you really want to, I want to send you something. Because I think it's really interesting. Because my experience, and you'll hear this from Richard Bartlett, it's about what you do together. It's really about what you do together. It's about because when you start, like, what do we believe and how do we be friends, it becomes meaningless very rapidly. But when you're actually doing something like, we're going to clean up this street, or we're going to deliver Thanksgiving dinners to people, or we're going to make a community garden, then you can, like, it doesn't work the other way. It doesn't work, oh, I'm thinking about community and then we're going to pick up the community garden. It works through work. And people argue a lot less when they're doing things.
I agree. I also think that, like, if that energy doesn't dissipate, kind of like what we're talking here about, you have these events, this pulse of, this burst of, as Ben said, intense activity, then it dissipates, and then there's another event. But if that energy can just kind of, like, you collect it in a reservoir, and every event has an energy that you can preserve, you can build upon it with the next event.
Well, gardens are like that. They have seasons and they keep going. This YouTube video I sent you is really interesting, and I think could even work in a place like Westchester. Westchester's tough, but I bet you have people who are really struggling. Maybe they wouldn't tell you. Oh,
it's true.
Everybody's struggling now. Nobody can make ends meet. I mean, the whole system is completely collapsing. That my mom and my sister live out in Sullivan County, so that's a very completely different environment.
Yes, that's where my family would go. We bought a place that was abandoned 35 years ago. As a kid, we spent all our weekends up there, and grew to love the place.
We did too, and my mom and my sister just built a house, and my mom built her retirement house up there, and they've got a farm, so they're pretty independent. So that link is about a town that, it's just so interesting what they did. So I think it's not a technology question. I think it's a physical question, like the one you're asking specifically about about your neighborhood. That's really different. And I think technology is so hard to keep people going on because we've got so much of it demanding our time. It's like, oh, well, I've got another chat, now I've got another this. And I like, how many Mattermosts and Slacks, and like, I've got 6 of these apps on my desktop, and I can't, and I'm a freelancer and I'm working on all, it's just, so I think that we do need to do technological solutions, but I think that what this network of networks thing is a richer conversation for me. Like, how do we take networks that are already functional and connect them with other networks and create something bigger? That's where I think there's a lot of juice right now.
That's what you've been doing here by connecting me to these ideas. I'll check out the Bristol Pay experiment. I see the YouTube video that you shared, and we're connected. We have.
I just linked you on LinkedIn. We have email.
Super.
We both have names that you could type into Google and find one another. Unlike Ben, I'm like, Ben, I sent him an email through the platform. I'm like, Ben, man, tell me who you are. And I'll probably be up there. I don't know when I'm going to be up there. I'm going to be up there pretty soon. I got to go see my dad who's out in Cape Cod. So I'm going to go both through Ben's area and your area in the near future.
Oh, it'd be great to have coffee. This whole event, this whole conversation was recorded. Do you want me to crop it so that anything that we talked about is not included?
No, people can, if anybody is interested enough to keep listening, maybe it'll save me a conversation in the future. I have weekly AMAs that I like hope people will come in, so I won't have to like have each conversation separately. It hasn't worked out really well. But yeah, so I've been thinking about these things for a long time, and I've been working with a lot of projects and looking at what does and doesn't work. So anyway, that's my opinion about your local thing. But I can introduce you to Diana if you think that's something that might interest you.
I will reach back out to you. First, I'll do some research on it.
Okay, cool.
Thank you, Grace.
Pleasure speaking to you. All right, take care.
Bye-bye.